Friends, hi, welcome to day 30. I hope you're well. Today in Exodus we see God appears to Moses and sends him to rescue the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt, which is quite a big task. So check out Moses' response to God. He says, "But Moses said to God, 'Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?' And God said, 'I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain.'" Moses straight away saying, "Who am I? I can't do it." And how often do we feel the same way? When maybe God asks us to do something, or there's something that we know we should do, we find ourselves asking, "Who am I?" or saying, "I can't do it." But God says, "I will be with you." And often when I get the feeling that God is asking me to do something, then often I'll sit there and I'll ask for a sign or for some kind of confirmation. And Moses kind of does the same thing, but check out what God says to him. God says to him that you'll get a sign, yep, that's fine, but you will get it when you come back. The sign will come afterwards. And so kind of what he's saying is that, Moses, if you trust me and if you do it, then when you come back, the testimony that you will have and the worship that you will have afterwards will be the sign. And that's the only sign you're getting. So into chapter 4, Moses starts making excuses. He says, "Oh, I can't go. What if they don't believe me? What if they don't listen?" And then he starts saying, "Oh, I can't talk. I'm not good at speaking." And God is just saying, "Look, stop being ridiculous." But then in the end, Moses just says, "Please, can you send someone else?" And then it says God gets angry when we don't do what it is that we're set apart to do. But then in the end, he says to Moses, "Okay, go with your brother, go with Aaron." And so we're in chapter 4, verse 29. Moses and Aaron team up. They go. They address the Israelites, and we see it went down well. The Israelites bowed down and worshipped. But I just wonder what would have happened had Moses gone on his own and done as God had asked him. How much more amazing would it have been? And friends, let me just encourage you to trust the call of God. Whatever you think God is calling you to do, trust. Don't use the excuse, "Who am I?" or "I can't do it." Just trust that God is with you, and that it is our inability sometimes that allows God to show his strength to the full. On into Matthew, and today we see Jesus saying that it's hard for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. Yesterday we saw, if you remember, the rich man who walked away because he couldn't bring himself to part with his money. And then we see Jesus saying that many who are first will be last and the last will be first. And what he's talking about here is the Jews at the time who were into, if you like, their rituals and the legalism. And they thought they were the first. They thought they were the guys. They had it sorted. And yet they were missing out. There were new believers coming on who weren't traditional Jews. They didn't do all the other practices and the rituals, and yet they were making it into the kingdom of heaven. And all these Jews that were here at the start were not happy. And so Jesus illustrates the point by telling them about the parable of the workers in their vineyard, with the workers that had been there since early in the morning. And it gets to the end of the day and they get the pay that they were due. And yet there were people coming in to work all through the day, right up until the end of the day, and they got paid the same. And Jesus is saying, isn't it in my power to do that? He's not saying that we're more deserving than anybody else, but because of God's grace, they get the same reward. The landowner chose to reward the latecomers equally. And he can do that because he's the boss, and God can do that because he's God. Very quickly, before we finish, let's just quickly look in Proverbs. And our proverb today we see, where are we? Proverbs 3. "Do not withhold good from those who deserve it when it is in your power to act. And do not say to your neighbour, 'Come back later. I'll give it tomorrow,' when you have it with you now." And friends, let me just encourage you. Whatever your sphere of influence is, at work or at home or at school, at college, wherever, if you can do good, do it. Not because people deserve it, but because you can. Friends, have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. God bless.